Reverend Njego the CBC Men's Department Director. The vision of the Men's Department, we are out to develop man after God's heart. And this, we link it with the mission statement, which is having to do with building men so that they can holistically undertake the mission of the Church of Jesus Christ. We make sure that as a department, we are out to build the men so that they can holistically take upon the mission of the church. Actually disciple them so that they continue to grow in the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. Here we are talking about the Great Commission, which is found in Matthew chapter 28, 19 to 20. We are equally out to encourage them so that they keep on embarking on missions. Here we are talking about local missions. You know, the Church of Jesus is existing for mission, so we are out to do just that. And again, as a men's department, the men of the CBC, we are out to do mentorship with the Boys Brigade. Even though the BB, this is actually a group that is under the youth department, but as men, we make sure that we give some mentorship. And we are out equally to encourage these men to embark on income generation. So that is all about the objectives of the men's department. The major programs, activities of the men's department. Here we are talking about the January prayer week. This is a week that men of the CBC, they come together at the level of their local churches to spend some time doing an evaluation of the past year, looking at what God has done in their lives, looking at the successes, their failures, and then they tend to thank God for what He has done. And again, we embark also on the men's week of missions. This is a week that we come together as men. We make sure that we meet and studying lessons talking about missions. They are encouraged to pray for missions. They are encouraged to give for missions, and they are equally encouraged to go out for local missions. We have Father's Day. This is a day that as men we come together equally at the level of our local churches and making sure that they embark on the responsibility that they have. Continue to encourage them, to give them a tap on the back and recognizing what they are doing at the levels of their families, the church, and the community. Talking about the Baptist World Alliance Men's Prayer Day and Witness. This is a day that equally the men of the CBC, they join the rest of the men all over the world and to encourage ourselves. And at the tail end, we actually raise an offering to support the activities of the men's department at the level of the Baptist World Alliance. And again, we have conferences. Here I'm talking about the Men's Banner Conference. This is a time we come together as men of the CBC for fellowship, for edification, and equally they do some fundraising to embark on our projects at the level of the department. And we equally have the general session, a time we come together every after 4 years. We come together for fellowship, for edification, and we equally embark on elections. We spend some time to pray and ask God to give them leaders at the level of the helm of the department. And at the level of the fields, associations, and churches, we equally encourage our men to embark on retreats and rallies, even seminars. They embark on these programs to help them grow more in the faith. The leadership of the church was in the hands of the women and the youths, and I will be telling you that most often the men were actually at the back bench. We call them, people called them backbenchers. They were just observing, they were like spectators, they are never involved. And so it was like the leadership of the church was in the hands of the women and equally the youths. And this was not good, but we thank God that in line with our hymn of challenge of the men's department, which is talking about rise up, O men, to have done with lesser things. The men actually spent their time on lesser things, on things that were not really necessary. So we've challenged the men to sit up. You know, in scriptures, actually, the leadership was given to man. So men were challenged to sit up and to take upon leadership. Right now we have a membership of about 12,000, and they are doing their best. They have actually taken upon leadership at the level of their families, at the level of the churches, and then in the community. So the men are growing, and we do give God the glory for all of that. For one to be a member with the men's department, the truth is that you should be one who actually repented, surrendered your life to Jesus, and then accepted him as Lord and Savior from sin. And now when we come back to scriptures, the truth is that when you come onto the saving knowledge of Jesus, you need to continue to associate with other people in order to grow in the faith. When we get to Hebrews chapter 10 verse 25, you see the Bible challenging us not to neglect our fellowships. So I want to say that the men, they do their best, making sure that they fellowship with one another. You know, our slogan is having to do with as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And so again, for you to be a member, normally you need to undergo a discipleship class. And with this discipleship class, we have the dedication manual, good number of lessons that are there. We make sure that we teach these lessons, helping our men or the candidates to understand what is expected of them, what the men's department is all about. We have foundations of the men's department. Here we talk about the motto, the vision, the slogan, and then the mission statement. So we make sure that all of this is taught for these people to understand what they are going to be doing. So at the tail end, they are dedicated into the men's department. And for you to dedicate, normally there are uniforms you need to have. Here we are talking about the official way, which is a green jumper. I want to tell you, when once you have have your jumper and you are dedicated, automatically you become a member of this department. And we equally have the t-shirt, which is the social way. So these uniforms, we make sure that the men are having, or they're in possession of these uniforms. And again, we cannot leave out the men's manual. I just said we embark on discipleship. This is something serious. So we make sure that we teach our men, we teach them, we write lessons that can help them to grow more in the faith. For instance, this year we have some very challenging lessons. Our theme for this year, we are talking on cultivating Christ-likeness. And here our point is we want to challenge men to emulate the footsteps of Jesus Christ by implementing spiritual disciplines. We equally look at some topical issues that are affecting the men. And this year we have a lesson on man and will. Man and will. You know, sometimes we've had women that are suffering because their husbands died without writing a will. And when they died, now their women started suffering with their children. And so I thought that it would be necessary to come up with such a lesson. And equally, we are talking about, there is one lesson on how to obtain your land certificate. You know, most men are suffering today. They have plots, they have lands, and they don't bother. They do not know how to go about to obtain the land certificate. One of our goals is that we, as men, as a member of the men's department, you should be able to have a copy of your manual. And it is so amazing that it is not just our men at the level of the CBC that are coming in to buy these lessons. We are equally happy that we have men of other denominations. In fact, last year I was so encouraged when I saw some men coming in from different denominations to buy our manual. About the major projects of the men's department, I want to say that a couple of years back, the men's department actually had a serious challenge. The director, they never had a place for him. There was no place for him to be lodging, so they were renting a house for him. But by the grace of God, in 2017, the men's department was able to put up a structure for the directors. And this time around, we are trusting God to put up a retreat center. This is actually a project. We are trusting God that if we do it, the focus or the purpose of this project is that we want men to, if they come there, they will actually be able to enrich themselves spiritually as men of the CBC. And this particular building will equally provide provide sustained income for us to embark on missions. And it is not just going to be limited to the men of the CBC. It is going to be open to any other person, men from all over, from other denominations. They have the right to come in, and at the tail end, if a token is given, so that we use that token to do maintenance in that structure, fine, and that will equally help us to embark on missions. This particular project is estimated at 197 million. Here we are talking something about 200 million. So by the grace of God, last year we had a fundraising that was actually first of its kind. We were able to realize over 21 million in cash and pledges. Talking about the socio-political crisis both in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, that has affected the maize department seriously. Even as director, I was visiting the fields because that is actually my responsibility, my duty, to visit the fields and to pray with them and then embark on discipleship programs. It has not been easy. I cannot go out again. And some of these men, I want to tell you, they cannot fellowship again. Some of them have lost their lives. Some of them actually, they have lost their jobs. They have actually lost their property. And some of them have even died. Some of them are right now in prison. It is not easy. And so their wives are there, their children are there, they are exposed, and it is not going. I want to tell you that they keep calling and they tell me, director, it is not going. Pray for us. If there is a way for you to support us, fine. So I keep praying for them, and we make sure that if there is a token to send to them, fine, we do that. Vision 2020 is a strategic plan that we came up with in 2017, and our desire was that in 2020, by December 2020, 31st, we should have accomplished actually that particular strategic plan. And Vision 2020, here we are talking about a membership of the men's department. I just said by the grace of God, we've gone above 12,000 plus, and we are talking about membership, and our desire is that the membership of the men's department be increased. And we're talking about discipleship. That was actually the second plan of action, that we disciple our men in our churches. You know, most often men come into the church and they don't stay. They come in and then they go out. Why? Because the church, sometimes there are people that they have actually lost focus and they don't spend time to actually disciple these men. And when we don't engage them, they come and sit as if they are spectators, they will leave. So we have been doing our best, making sure that we embark on discipleship. Reason why we've come up with discipleship manuals to help them, discipleship lessons to help them. And the third part of it was having to do with evangelism and missions. We make sure that we give in order to support. I think there was a time we had a missionary in Wabane that we actually sent him there, and he was doing his best and preaching the gospel to those who did not know him. And because of the crisis, he actually was pushed out of that place. But we continue to support. And finally, we're talking about evaluation. Our desire was that if this strategic plan is implemented, normally we needed to do evaluation. So last year, 2019, we did an evaluation of this strategic plan to see how far we have gone. And we saw that we've done just a lot. And one aspect of this strategic plan was having to do with resource mobilization. We cannot be able to do these things without money. I just talked about money, and I said, if you are listening to me and God is touching your heart, you can support us. Reason why we make sure that if there are dues that men are supposed to give, they should give at the level of their churches. So they give these dues, offerings that comes in to push us or to support us in order to achieve this particular strategic plan. So thank you so much.